What's going on, everyone? It's your coach, Trev Bucheri here, and it is Mindset Day. I'm super amped because we're talking vision boards today. And I know Coach Jamie went through a vision board section on our Facebook Live coaching sessions, but I wanted to share mine with you and just share my method of going through it, how often I update it, and things like that. It really just in hopes that you'll find value in putting one of these into action for yourself, because it's honestly been almost like interestingly, unexpectedly transformative, I guess is the best way to say it. You know, the things are happening, you know, is basically what I'm saying. So just so much value in it. So I'm going to dig right in here and go through, you know, how I actually put this together for myself, because there's so many different ways that you can do this and so many different methods of vision boards out there. Feel free to go check them out. But this is my own interpretation and my own method of it. I took Dr. John Demartini's 7 areas of life method, and that's what I started off with the structure here. So I have my spiritual, you know, vision board section. I have my mental or mindset vision board section. I have the physical area, okay? I have family. I have finance, vocational, being work, and then social. So it's not really in the order that I usually present it but this was kind of just how it fell on the board. You know, I usually go spiritual, mental, finance, family, work, social, and physical. This is just the way that I've kind of memorized it, but it doesn't really matter either way. And then it was basically, it was this. I said, hey, okay, what do I want to be, do, and have in each of those 7 areas there? What do I want to be, do, and have spiritually? What do I want to be, do, and have mentally? What do I want to be, do, and have physically? Okay? And I started with that question. And then from there, I did a little bit of visualization. I said, okay, well, what does that look like? What does that look like in my mind? What does that look like? Okay, so for example, you know, physically, I was like, okay, I want to find, you know, a 50-year-old guy who's in shape. So I did that, and I actually found this guy, and I can't remember if it didn't even have his head on it, or I cut it off, I can't recall, but that's what I want to look like when I'm 50. So that's on my vision board right there. And that's the physicality of me and my best condition, all right, or the condition that I'd like to be at, and that's where I want to get. So here's my reminders, and it says, and I also have a mantra that says, my body is my temple and deserves my best every day. Boom, there's my physical area right there, okay? Now, what I then did was I actually said, okay, well, what does this look like? And what sayings or what verbiage do I use with that? And what's a picture of that look like in my mind? And that's kind of what I did for each of these sections here. You know, spiritually, you know, again, this is all your own interpretation, whatever your spiritual connection is, whether you're looking for, you know, a better relationship with God, or maybe you're actually looking to say, hey, you know what, I actually want to get out of my relationship with my church, or whatever it may be, or I want to get into a church and I want to start that, to, you know, whatever it may be for you. This is all particular. But then I'd say, great. What does that look like? What's that look like? Maybe you're like, oh, I've got a vision of that church in my head. Awesome. You know, go online and then start to try to find pictures of that and pop it up there. You know what I mean? And what kind of wording, you know, what wording touches you for that? You know, what wording actually really resonates and connects with you when you're thinking about what you're looking to do spiritually and what you want to be, do, and have spiritually? What wording resonates with you? And then go online and try to find that type of verbiage, and you can print that out and pop it in here. So that is really how the exercise goes. Now, and I do it for each particular one here. Now, I'm just going to go through mine just a little bit, just to give you an idea of what I did here. Now, spiritually, you know, I believe, you know, spirituality for me is really more walking along my path. You know, I feel like we're all given purpose. You know, I feel like we're all given a purpose, and it's our objective to find it and connect to it, and we can only feel that. We can feel if it's right, we can feel if it's wrong. Okay? So for me, one of the things I've always connected to is my Zen place for working out. So, you know, I actually have up there as part of my spirituality, ironically, what was resonating for me was to have my dream home gym. And I have a great home gym right now, but it's not my dream one. That's what I'm still working towards here. I also have a great Steve Jobs quote here that says your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Okay, I thought that was really, really cool in terms of like, listen to my own path, my own perspective, my own objectives and goals and callings, I guess you'd say. That's what I got out of that. So just to really give you an idea of that, mentally, growing up, I definitely had very, very low confidence, mentally, and I didn't really do well in school. But now what I realize is that I didn't enjoy school. I wasn't engaged. I didn't get engaged the right way. As a student, my mind wandered, but I always had ideas. But I love this quote. Because I feel like there's a lot of kids in education now going through this exact same thing where they're just not being taught based upon their values. I think that's really what's missing. Again, I'm preaching here, but that's what I believe is missing in school, is that we're just being taught all this general curricula and we're not relating it to the children's values, because Bobby over here is interested in cars, and Jenny is interested in clothes and things like that. And when we're talking about history or mathematics, if we could actually know what Bobby's into and know what I forget what the little girl's name is, we'll say Jennifer is into, then we could actually relate that to the mathematics, and then it becomes relevant to them. Okay. So what I put down, an Einstein quote here is, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. So I love that, and that's truly how I feel. So that's really what resonated. I'm like, I know there's a quote about that out there. I'm going to find it. I didn't even know it was Einstein, but that's one that that really stuck with me. Keep calm and study every day. That's huge. Reading every day, audiobooks is really zen for me. It's relaxing for me. I have a Tony Robbins mantra down here. I'm a gladiator. Winter is my season. Well, this is winter right now. And I can tell you, I've been busting butt. Winter is my season. This is my time. Give me your fears, give me your limitations, and I'll give you results. I'm a gladiator. So I love that. So that's the type of stuff that's under my mental. I already went over the physical for you here. Family is about, being a dad, being a great husband. I really would, love to bring my family on a trip. That's what this is someday, like the entire family. That's what I want to do. Dream vacation with my wife, how I'd like to be with her, how I'd like to be with my in-laws and with my parents, and my appreciation and gratitude for them, and how I want it to be. Because the thing is that once you attain these things, they don't have to necessarily be taken down, because these can be your standards as well. And that's actually what's happened over here with me in vocation. Vocation, I feel that, work in work situations, in any type of situation, really, people have a very hard time approaching difficult conversations, approaching conversations that there's going to be potentially some pushback or conflict, right? So I have difficult conversation. That's really what it was. And I tried to find a quote for it, and I actually like erased a couple words that were in here, and I don't even know what the words were, to tell you the truth, that were in there. It doesn't even matter. But what I was looking for was have difficult conversations and do it now. So that's a practice that I do every single day. Quite frankly, if there's something on my mind and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to call that person, it's going to be a bit of a conflict, or it's going to be stressful. Instead of psyching myself out, I'll call them right then. And get it over with. And then over time, another thing, mentally for me was again, keeping calm under pressure. So being able to handle a very high stress, high pushback, high confrontation situation like an adult, basically, right? And have a conversation as opposed to an argument, yada, yada, yada. So that was one thing that I've really been working on. And again, one of those things that I'm like, yes, I'm doing it. And I've been doing it really well. The more I did that, the more I realized, yeah, this is a lifer. This is going to stay here. This is actually one of the more impactful things vocationally that I have up here as well. But vocationally also speaking to, large crowds, with a business that I have that I'm helping other gyms. Also, I'm looking to explode their growth and their profit. Socially, for me, socially, it's really getting down to, I have very few that I keep very close, and that's where my time goes, from my wife to my kids, and some very, very close friends that I have, amazing conversations with. But I really keep it there, I really keep it there. But again, that's my goal with it, you know. And where is another one? Oh yeah. Where there are friends, there is wealth. Friends are the family we choose for ourselves, you know. So I really look at my friends as my family, and I loved that quote as well, because you know, some of us, and many of us, I really should say, have friends that in some cases are even closer than some family members, you know. So I think that's really cool, because it's like, you know, running into situations like brother from another mother, you know, type situation. If you've heard that, is you know, what I found with several of my buddies, you know, growing up with. Oh, actually, here's that quote. It's under social as well. So I actually put it two places with this. You have difficult conversations. Socially, I said, I approach all difficult situations and conversations with speed, energy, and enthusiasm. So there it is right there. So just little quotes like that is what's going on here. Financial, I have my financial goals that I'm looking to do, you know, overall in career annually. I'm a huge car buff. I love cars. I have my dream cars on my list, because why not? This is a vision board. This is what we want for our lives, right? Investing into real estate is really where I'd like to go as well. And then I have a wealth plan, a financial plan that I'm really looking to bust out and be consistent as well. So that's how I've placed this, you know. So all this stuff really came from Google, and then of course, say Word documents or whatever, where I typed these things out. But that's how it was. I mean, because you could also go into magazines and things like that, but then you're not really searching for what you're actually envisioning specifically. You're like, wow, like I mentioned before, for spirituality, I have a vision of a church, and it's got really high, you know, steeples or towers or whatever it may be, and you're going to go on and you're going to look for something. Oh my gosh, that's almost like exactly it. Print, you know what I mean? You can get really specific with that. So I highly recommend, you know, utilizing that tool. So hopefully this was really cool for you. And it gave you some insight into, and maybe even potentially inspired you to start creating one on your own. You know, this is a 24 by 36 cork board. It's got on Amazon for like $15. Also, make sure you buy a bunch of thumbtacks, because there are probably at least 100 thumbtacks on here, because I do have this out in my office, which is a 3 Seasons room. And the first version of this I didn't tack down each of the corners. And they started kind of curling up, and it just looked like a big hot mess. And I like it to look really pretty. So, in fact, here's one right here that needs to get put down here. So there you have it. Again, hope you got a bunch out of this. And I was actually just looking at this quote. I'm just going to read a couple things that I think are really cool. So the only thing better than having your parents is my children having you for grandparents. I'm sorry. The only thing better than having you for parents is my children having you for grandparents. That's what I put down for my parents, and that's what I was just reading through, and I was just actually reflecting on it. I love it. I'm just still in love with this stuff, and I find myself. I have a couch right over here, and I find myself laying on it and looking up at it quite a bit. So literally. Boom, lay right there, looking back up at it. And I sometimes I'll actually get up if I'm just kind of zoning out and looking in. I'll kind of look up and kind of be like, what's that say again? You know, because I don't have it all memorized yet. But then I also actually have it as the background on my phone. So what I did was I took a picture of this thing and I cropped it. And now I can't show you because I'm recording on my phone, but it's the background on my phone. So, and we have all the apps on the face of it, but behind that is this. Just so it's, again, top of mind awareness is so important with things like this. It's like you kind of want it everywhere. You want it in a place where you're actually going to use it. This is not something that just goes into your closet afterwards. So again, thank you so much for joining me, spending your time with me today. Hope you were able to get some value from this here. And because it's been game changing. I highly recommend this to anyone. It's a great activity you can do with your family as well. Have at it. So your coach Trev Bucheri here. You have an incredible rest of your day. Take care.